Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a political scandal with a very strange twist. Imagine this. A whistleblower comes forward with what looks like proof of major corruption. So what happens? Instead of investigating the crime, the government investigates the whistleblower. Let's break down how that played out.
So it all kicks off with the Christmas bombshell. A set of documents, which come to be known as the Cabral Files, are released to the public. And what's inside is explosive. We're talking serious allegations of corruption in these huge flood control projects.
And that, of course, brings up a really important question, right? When you have this kind of serious evidence of corruption put on the table, what's supposed to happen next? What's the textbook response?
Well, normally you'd expect a pretty quick and thorough investigation into the allegations themselves. You get the evidence, you follow the trail, and you try to find the truth. Seems simple enough.
But yeah, that is not what happened here. Not even close. Instead, the spotlight almost instantly swung right around to the person who exposed the whole thing.
All right, so let's get into this complete reversal. The government's first move wasn't to look at the alleged crime, but to go after the person who brought it all out into the open.
And you have to see just how fast this all went down. On December 23rd, one congressman dares another to release the files. The very next day, Christmas Eve, bam, Congressman Leandro puts them on Facebook for everyone to see. But then, get this, less than a week later, the official response isn't about the files. It's about investigating how Leandro got them in the first place.
You know, this wasn't just one office reacting randomly. The analysis we're looking at suggests this was a coordinated pushback, coming from three different, very powerful directions.
And here you can really see that three-pronged strategy in action. It's like a playbook. First, you've got the palace, and their move is to deflect by questioning the source. Hey, how'd you get these? Instead of, are these real? Then the department head just delays, claiming he hasn't even read them. And finally, you get Congress leadership literally silencing the conversation by shutting down a session to stop Leandro from speaking.
Okay, so with all this institutional pushback, things really started to escalate. It basically turned into a public battle, a war over the evidence itself and who was allowed to talk about it.
Now, this idea that the documents were stolen was absolutely central to their strategy. Because think about it. If you can make the evidence itself seem illegitimate, if you can discredit how it was obtained, then maybe, just maybe, you don't have to talk about what's in it.
But Leandro had a major countermove up his sleeve. He released actual CCTV footage. And this video just blew the official story right out of the water. It clearly shows Yusek Cabral, before his death, calmly and voluntarily handing over the documents. No confrontation, no theft, just a peaceful meeting.
So, faced with this wall of obstruction, Leandro took three really decisive steps. First, he emailed the entire set of files directly to the secretary, so there's no more excuse of, I haven't seen them. Second, he drops that bombshell CCTV footage. And third, he publicly challenges the government to stop attacking him and start verifying the documents themselves.
But even then, when he tried to bring this up on the floor of Congress, he gets shut down again. And the reason they gave? A convenient so-called unwritten rule. It's just a classic procedural tactic to avoid dealing with the actual issue.
So this begs the question, why? Why go to such extreme lengths to avoid an investigation? Well, the legal analysis we're looking at offers a pretty compelling theory about what might be going on.
According to a legal analyst, Attorney G, this level of obstruction isn't random. He argues they only do this when there are still sacred creatures that cannot be involved in the case. In other words, it's about protecting certain powerful people from getting dragged into the mess.
The theory is that the top priority has shifted. It's no longer about fighting corruption, it's about protecting these influential figures, these sacred beings, as the analyst calls them. It suggests a system where, for some people, the scales of justice are tilted in their favor.
And what you end up with is this repeating pattern, this loop. Evidence comes out, the messenger gets attacked, official barriers get thrown up, and in the end, the original allegation of corruption is safely tucked away, untouched. It's a cycle that seems designed to ensure accountability never happens.
So what we're left with is this really stark contradiction. On one hand, you have all these public promises to crack down on corruption. But on the other hand, the actions we see seem to be all about blocking any real investigation before it can even get started.
Okay, let's step back for a second and look at the bigger picture. What are the real stakes here? Because this goes way beyond just one case. This is about something much bigger. It's about public trust and the rule of law itself.
Think about it. When the person who exposes potential wrongdoing is the one who gets punished, What message does that send? It tells any future whistleblower to keep their mouth shut. And that creates what's called a chilling effect, which allows a system of impunity to grow. A system where powerful people can act like they're above the law.
And so, we're left with a whole lot of really big, unanswered questions. Are the Cabral Files ever going to be officially verified? Who exactly are these sacred beings that are being protected? Is anyone ever going to face consequences for the alleged corruption? Or are the obstruction tactics just going to work?
In the end, that legal analyst, Attorney G, really summarized the whole situation perfectly. He said, if they want to, they find a way. If they don't, they never run out of excuses. And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? It just leaves you wondering about the true motivations behind all the excuses.